Hello, and welcome back to Soulstar Radio. I'm Jacquelene Closemore. It's very nice to join you and have you there, listen again, watching, whichever it may be. I can't see the comment fields on the live feed as yet. That may happen. I'm going to have to give different camera equipment for that. But in the meantime, you can certainly call in on A1R Radio. You can also write messages on the board. And our lovely VP, Constance, who's in the background there, being an amazing lady, will be able to get back to you and put you in the queue. Just remember that each reader can only answer so many calls in a night or in their show. So there's a whole range of us through the evening, so do feel free to connect. You can also find me on Soulstar Radio. If you Google that, you should find the website somewhere. Just look for Jacquelene Closemore as well when you're doing that, in case you end up getting T-shirts. So today I'm taking callers. You're welcome to, once again, make contact. And we'll just see who comes in. In the meantime, what an interesting week of energy we've had. Some people can find that they're sort of questioning, like, is this a Mercury retrograde? No, it's not a Mercury retrograde. It's actually just a lot of discordant energy at the moment. So you sort of look at what's happening with Meghan Markle and Harry's wedding on this weekend, and sort of, is the father going, is not the father going, and all this sort of really difficult stuff around the family there. So what we won't do is spend a lot of time on that. We're going to give those guys a break so they can just enjoy their day. But what can happen is you can have the best laid plans and they can sort of be going awry. And so it's really important to have, I guess, patience, tolerance, avoid knee-jerk reactions, and try to, I guess, educate people who might not be showing an understanding. And if it looks like they might not be able to understand, then, you know, always have a get-out clause somewhere, or some way of getting away. I find a really good technique, which is a bit naughty, but what you can do it at a meeting, if it's sort of really quite a challenging one, and, you know, and you're trying all the diplomatic nice stuff, is to actually set a phone alarm. And that, you know, it then looks like your phone's ringing. But if you put your phone on flight mode, then it can't accidentally ring in the middle of you answering and going, oh, really? I have to go now? The last thing you want is for the phone to actually ring while you're doing that. I know I'm all about being truthful, being honest, but sometimes that kind of get-out clause can actually help, and I recommend using it sometimes when you really feel the need. So sometimes what people can find when they're working in this field over a certain amount of time is that you can come across situations that are really challenging as far as conflict and as far as different people's ways of perceiving this field. And it's really important to, I guess, be really true to yourself and to work out at the very beginning of working in this field, what is my message, what am I about, you know, and people like to use the word branding, but if we look at what is uniquely you, what you stand for, that kind of is your personal brand. So if we want to get away from the commercialisation of that and just talk about, I guess, the plain speak of that, what do you stand for? What are you about? How do you like to be represented? And so that's a really important thing to define really early and stick to. Always remember that you really should feel comfortable to stick to your boundaries. Boundaries are a very important part of this work. Some people come into working as a psychic or working in the spiritual and healing fields and all this sort of thing, and they've got this idea of, great, I'm going to be away from all these negative people. And I won't have to deal with all this conflict. Well, guess what? You're probably going to need all your conflict resolution skills and certainly your boundary skills and more, because this whole field can have a lot of people without boundaries sort of either in it or coming to you that may need help with that clarity. And so that's where boundaries are really important for you to have, and to have really positive ways of dealing with, you know, any challenges that come up within the conflict of what people might perceive versus what something is. So always look for the peaceful way of doing that where possible. And if that's not possible, well, there's always that secret alarm on your phone. So just keep that in mind. You know, there's nothing wrong with being inventive. Now, we've got K-Rel in New Orleans. Keith-Rel, sorry, in New Orleans, Louisiana. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello, and can you just pronounce your name for me so I get that right?
Keytrail.
Keytrail. Okay, thank you so much for that. It's lovely to hear from you and to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, now, was there a question you wanted to ask today, darling?
I wanted to know about love relationships. I just recently got out of a bad relationship, and I'm trying to see how the road ahead would be for me.
I feel like we're having to pick up your sense of confidence all over again, and I feel like that's going to be okay. At the moment, though, you can feel like you're still dealing with a sense of conflict within yourself about, was this right? Was that wrong? Was this the right way to do it? Should I have done it that way? Is there another way I could have said things? But it's really important for you not to blame yourself here and not to hold on to that too much. Yes, there's always something we can learn from relationships, and it's always good to do a bit of a review there and look at, okay, well, is there something I could have done better? But it's really important not to punish yourself or to, I guess, be obsessing over things like that, to keep working on your self-worth, your confidence, all these sorts of things, because I feel like that's had a bit of a battering here, if that makes sense to you. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it did. It was kind of off and on situations, a sticky situation between me and that guy. We were together for maybe 12 years, but we couldn't get along at all.
Yes, absolutely. I think that you're going to just grow and grow from here. You're not going to be controlled by anyone from here on out except yourself and your own sovereignty. And I do see much better things in the future with you for that. I actually also feel like there's a whole new level of growth that's going to come through here for you on a personal, emotional and spiritual level, and a great deal more empowerment. I actually think you're going to like the sense of freedom that comes out of this. The ability to make your own decisions without having to think first, oh, is this going to be approved of, or, am I going to be in trouble for this?
Right.
Yeah, so I actually feel really good about where this is going. You're going to be able to put the best elements together, and I feel like you're going to have someone else come in your life, but the real kind of motto that I'm picking up with you is, if he's hoping to change my status from single, he better be amazing or forget it. So it sort of needs to be really good, and you need to be treated really well, or you're just not interested, if that makes sense.
Yes.
That's what I'm really picking up and feeling, and I just really am glad that you're at that point in yourself now where it's like, look, I'm happy to look at a relationship, but and so this is a really good kind of feeling I get from that, and I really like where it's going. The most important thing for you going forward as well in relationships is going to be the sense, I guess, of feeling that you've got truth going on between you as well, and you're interested in the truth, the facts, the reality of the situation, and romance as well. But I'm talking about that ability to trust your partner and trust that what they say they mean and what they mean they say, and so that's where I'm seeing the future of your relationships going, and also that what they mean they say, but it's said in a compassionate and understanding and cooperative manner, rather than feeling like almost like this is their expectation and you have to kind of abide by it. It's not meant to be an authoritarian regime here. It's meant to be a relationship of caring and sharing and exchanging and feeling that equality. And that's what I feel you're going towards. I don't feel that's necessarily completely what you've had there.
Right.
At times, I think certainly there's been times that you've had to raise your assertiveness in the past, just to sort of feel heard again. But I just don't feel those kinds of issues coming up in your future long-term relationship, which might be about 2 years away. But when it does come in, and that's not saying there's no dating between, it just seems to be where I'm picking up on the long-term relationship. It's like that's where it's a lot easier to actually discuss things without them becoming defensive or trying to turn back around on you, some very reasonable questions or statements that you'd be sort of making and asking here. And so, it's a really completely different way of relating in relationships in that next really long-term partnership that I'm seeing with you. So it's just a case of the moment, enjoy the fresh air, enjoy that breeze.
Right.
It's very refreshing, and this is going to be a lot better going forward, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Oh, my God.
Yeah, you've got a beautiful heart. You just give so much, and you speak from the heart as well. And I can see you how you really, it's like you reach out and you look after people around you. So be they in the community, be it someone who looks like they're struggling on the street, and you can feel that they are actually having a problem, as against maybe feeling that's not quite the case. You'll know the difference, but also, you care in your community, you care about the people around you, family, friends, etc. And you really reach out to people. So, that does get rewarded in the end. It can just be a time for you at the moment to not feel that you owe anyone anything really, except just that plain common decency and kindness that you normally emanate anyway. Big pats on the back for you, and a lot of love your way, my dear, because, you're doing good things out there in the world.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline.
You're absolutely welcome. I'm sending you a bundle of love, and I'll be sending you a lot of healing after this to help you on your way. And feel free to connect with me later if you wish. Just find me on Facebook with Soulstar Radio with Jacqueline. And thank you so much for your call there. What a lovely, lovely caller. It's really beautiful that we get so many people calling in that have such a big heart. And what I do on this show as well is I try to give you little tips and pointers, whether it's, whether you're actually starting to read for others, whether you're psychically opening up and aware, whether you are actually reading out in the public and, what do I do about this issue? Oh, my God. Or whether you're just working in the New Age therapy sort of area, that's what I'm sort of reaching out to do. So some people are going to really relate to not just the fact that you've got that caller on the line, that they're relating to what you're saying, but also sometimes some of our listeners are going to relate to the messages that what we've got going on for you. So, everyone can kind of gain something when we're on air. So do feel free to keep connecting, and thanks once again for your call. If you're listening out there, once again, you can call in, make contact, reach out and connect. As I was saying before about boundaries, certainly our first caller was dealing with a lot of that. So it's about being able to really learn to back yourself, and learning to back yourself starts with the small things. So backing yourself on the very small decisions, particularly if you've been in a relationship that has cut down your self-esteem or made you question and doubt yourself, and become a bit indecisive. If you can start with the small things like, intuitively picking up, I really want a car space in front of the bank. And I'm just going to calmly put that out there and bang, there it is. That's manifesting. Or it can be, what do I feel is going to happen when this person turns up at the door? Do I feel they're going to be wearing this colour or this colour? Do I feel they're in a happy mood or a sad mood? And then, sure enough, you can check that out as they turn up. But I would look for the small things you can do that can be immediately confirmed, that you don't actually know the answer to straight away, but you're tuning in and getting that intuitively. So those are some of the things that you can do. You just yourself at home to build up your awareness and your ability to trust your intuition. So once again, thank you to our first caller. Now, we've also got Laura in Charleston, South Carolina. Are you there, Laura?
Yes, I am. Hello, good evening.
Hello and good evening there, Laura. Absolutely beautiful energy with you. I'm really seeing a lot of different shades of blue here with you. I'm getting very light blues through to turquoises, through to more the sort of like a sky blue, right into cobalt blues and beyond. And so I'm sort of seeing all those colours. And so there's sort of a lot of peace you're able to give people, but also it's about clear and honest communication for you. So you really like people to be very clear and honest with you. You really will take people on their word, and if they don't live up to their word, well, that's it. They don't really get another chance unless they have already found a way into your heart, in which case you might give them too many. Usually people that you've known for a long time, they're the ones you're giving too many chances. But usually people, they get the one chance with you and then, it's like, oh, all right, well, I won't trust them again. You're not going to be mean to them. You're just going to go, maybe not. Also with you, there's a deep desire for peace. And also I would wonder whether writing your thoughts down is actually therapeutic for you, just to get them out of your head onto paper and then read them and go, wow. I think that if you really work on it, you could actually be doing automatic writing. So this is channeling straight from spirit onto paper. And sort of stepping out of the way of that. And I wonder whether sometimes if you're typing things down or you're working on something that involves writing, whether there are times where you suddenly do look up and go, oh, gosh, that went quickly and look what I wrote. Yeah, I wasn't quite aware of that at the time. And, well, that looks good.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes, that does.
That make sense?
That actually does.
Yeah.
It very much resonates, everything you've said so far.
Yeah. With that lighter blue, I once sat next to an author called Bryce Courtney, and he wrote The Power of One and a number of other amazing books. The Power of One was turned into a movie. And I sat next to him not knowing who he was at a book signing. Oh, God. And he had this most amazing, gigantic light blue aura, and it actually went for like 20 metres. I'm like looking at this going, whoa. And I thought, this guy's really amazing. Oh, yeah. And you just reminded me of him and of that energy and that real sense of peace and calm. And he was a very calming dude, and so in some of those blues, when we get into that cobalt blue, that's that sense of you also being an authority figure unto yourself and really, at times having to spend time alone to get things done because people love to talk to you.
Yep.
Yeah, and you get more done when you're able to just decompress. You'll also be the person who goes into autopilot when there is sort of a disaster situation, and you'll experience things 3 times. First is, something's up. Boom, there it is, it happens. So that's 1, 2. The boom is, right, let's fix everything. Let's delegate. Let's get these people safe, autopilot kicks in and we're running on adrenaline about then. And then once everyone else is taken care of, they're safe, they're wrapped up in their bed and they've gone to sleep, that's about when you'll collapse. So all the adrenaline wears off. So sometimes for you there is a delayed reaction to events, to situations, and you are sometimes needing to really take the time to work out how you really feel about things. And I'd be using the words, let me get back to you, when someone asks you how you are immediately after something's happened and it sort of still hasn't washed completely over you because you're still in fix-it mode. Because when you're in fix-it mode, you sort of become Superwoman and, sort of not sitting with your real energy, and then once it's all over, you're really sitting with what's left after that, and that can be really quite full on. And, there can be the desire to sort of hibernate and, and not be around people because, you see, you really understand people so much that there is times when you need to be as far away from them as possible, just kind of in your own space, in that quiet, because with all of that communication of blue, sometimes we need to not have to communicate, if that makes sense.
Yes, that absolutely makes sense. Thank you for seeing me. May I ask a question?
Please do. Go for it.
Okay, I'm wanting to know, you've pegged me. I mean, that is me. That is totally me. I'm wanting to know if you see any changes or promotions or new energy coming in my work or in my love life.
Whoop, there we go. Whoa, hang on. I'm trying to hold this card up. The Wheel of Fortune's there. And that was coming out before you finished that sentence. So I was sort of having a bit of a giggle to myself. You're having you're having to use your mind, and you're having to really use your mind where you are at the moment. It's just because you go a bit cabin fever. If you're sort of like, yes, you need time alone, but not all the time, and you sort of don't need to be surrounded by people all the time. It needs to be a bit of both, and you need movement, flexibility, and variety. Otherwise, this ain't going to work, So I do feel there's a change with work. I feel like you get to actually enjoy it. I'm actually I've got the Sun card next to that, then the Ace of Cups. So this is loving what you're doing, and then the Wheel of Fortune is that sense of change. So it's also often seen as, the harbinger of good fortune. So good changes to fortune, and it's in the work area that this particular spread of cards is sitting. And then the Three of Cups, it's like celebration, man. So this is taking you off in a very new journey, and it's a lot of excitement because we started the deck, this particular spread with the Tower. And that's what that's felt like. It's been kind of, at times, very heavy. A lot of upheaval, and it's not been easy. There's a crumbling down there, and there's having to rebuild. But where we're going, excited about this, the very last card in the deck, just trying to lower that. It's the full card. So this is a whole new journey. I'm excited about it. It feels a lot more positive. It feels like we're coming out into the brilliant new day, and it's very shiny. So I'm excited about that because to me it feels like you're going to be able to feel more financially secure here. It's also been really tough because you've had to be very careful financially, which is sort of signalled by this guy. Oop, there we go. And so there's been this kind of thing of feeling stuck where you are, and please God, get me out of here, So so it's going to be great to get out of there, and I'm excited about that. What you have to be a bit aware of is, that's already been. There's been a lot of conflict in the work environment in the past, and it's been very long running and very exhausting. But I feel like that's the past. I don't feel like that's the future. And I feel like you've also, where you have been in the past with this, where the conflict was, it feels like you've actually learnt to deal with conflict in a different way. And I've been talking a bit through the show about boundaries, conflict, and, sometimes setting your phone onto flight mode, but setting an alarm so it sounds like it's ringing, and you have to magically get out of the meeting and run. But I would use diversionary tactics like, can I get back to you? And I really have to think about that. I care about this project so much that I really need to not give you an answer right now. I have to actually consider what my best solution is for you. And so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to come back with a complete report full of lots of details on how I can best help you. And that could even be referring them to someone else. So sometimes a bit of that cheekiness can help, but, you got to sort of be careful how you do that, because I used to get away with cheekiness in my last corporate posting, and I used to be able to do things that I think would get other people sacked. So you probably want to filter that through your own kind of mechanisms of what feels really right for you, how you need to present it. But I'd use a lot of, stalling techniques and tactics so that you can come back with the best answer and be really clear on it. Or the other thing is to work out your 1 hour presentation, 5 minutes preview, and 30-second, hey, I've got an idea, really concrete before you even go into that situation, so that you don't even need to use the hour because you've convinced them in the first 30 seconds.
Very nice. And do you see me staying in the current job or getting a promotion?
This is a promotion. No, this is a change to your job and your promotion.
Do you know how soon it's coming?
Timing on that is, look, it feels fairly imminent, but I'm saying within the next few months at the latest that there would be talk of that. I feel it's a lot sooner, but I'm just wanting you to stay in the relaxed position with your tray in the upright position, because there is a bit of turbulence there. There is a bit of turbulence there, and, you sort of don't want your coffee out on the tray in the middle of turbulence, if you know what I mean. So we shouldn't celebrate it before it comes, in case we get coffee on our lap.
Exactly. Thank you.
Never assume because by assuming, that takes off your really nice edge that you have to how you communicate, how you deal with things. So it's just about keeping that nice, non-assuming energy that keeps you in the right space to be in the right energy to negotiate this in a better way and actually get a better pay increase, by the way, because there's nothing like saying, when they say, so what were you thinking, for that position and that role as far as income goes? And what I would do is I would think ahead and go, well, I was thinking, but hey, what do you reckon? Because I'm flexible. And then if they look shocked, you go, well, if that's a bit too much, why don't you tell me what your ballpark is? I'm sure we can make something work. Because it shows a sense of humour, and it shows an ability to be flexible and negotiate. It shows a willing to value yourself, but to also work within the company's needs. That can kind of work well for you if you use it the right way and the right sort of humour. You just have to, really consider who you're talking to at the time, which you should not do that with your current boss at all. Next boss, sure. No worries. Current boss, don't do that. Next boss, yes. I'm putting that little thing in there. Then you'll be fine.
Okay.
So I hope that helps you, my dear. You rock on. You keep on doing what you're doing. And don't forget to keep your feet warm. Do they get quite cold, or is it cold there?
It's a little bit cold sometimes in my room.
And do you feel the coldness in your feet particularly?
My toes are a little cold. And my nose.
They might be a bit blue. Sorry, bad joke.
Oh my goodness.
Just keep them warm.
Thank you so much. You've been wonderful.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Thank you for your call. Thank you, everyone. Sorry we couldn't get through to all the calls today. Catch you same bat time and channel next week. In the meantime, keep happy and smiling and patient.